empowerment.resources and Instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
From novice.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. In this case, both of them out of assignment. We might see Charles sneak in here as he's on the plane ride. He should have landed by now, so he's probably trying to rush to get home. Hopefully he didn't have any delays.
Hopefully he didn't fly Southwest with the all-day fiasco.
Well, actually he did, so that may be the problem. As you hear, we have AD Drew, so we'll be just fine and we'll get it all in, so we'll work through all that. We don't have our good friend BJ Jones. Let's lift him in prayer. Also, one of our lab listeners, in terms of her mom, we want to pray for her too. I won't say her name because I hadn't been directly contacted to make sure that she's fine with that, but it was posted in the link. So we do want to be prayerful for those individuals and just all, particularly on this Sunday morning. So I hope all are doing well. I know there are some Prairie View Panthers that are doing really well this morning, and it might be several homecoming folks that need to be a little prayerful, but usually after homecoming, they get it in there. With that being said, let me do this intro, and then I'm going to go straight to you, Drew, and see what's on your mind. Welcome to episode 197 of Inside the HBCU Sports Live radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sport HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports, from institutions large and small, from NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic program and the business of HBCU sports. If you hadn't had a chance, go back and check yesterday, the watch party. It's something that you need to watch during your weekend. Whether you're at a game, you're at home, it shows all the games, and we talk through it, led by Brian. You see all the folks that are on the BCSN network chime in over a period of time and do that. Obviously, AD Drew heads up the Knights of the Round Table with the HBCU Pro Sports Media. So check those things out. The reason I said check out yesterday's action, we had a great discussion on attendance and a couple of other business platforms associated with HBCU sports. So you might enjoy some of that business talk. I'm your host, Dr. Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington Charles Bishop. As I said, they're out on assignment. We are filming from our home studios and getting it done as we are in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas, with that rain-delayed game that had me up all night. But I had my business partner with me, my son, Deuce, who was up to it. He's sleeping in now, so the wife is really happy about that. But we'll see how that works out. AD Drew, I know you wanted to come in and also open up some things. What's on your mind at this point?
First of all, while we're giving prayerful thoughts, let's not forget our colleague, Michael Coker, HBCU Pro Sports Media member, Black College Nine reporter, and we call him the guru of HBCU baseball, lost his mother last week, and they laid her to rest, I believe, over this weekend. So let's also keep that Coker family in prayer also.
Now, certainly a great point. Thank you for making sure we got that in there.
Now, with that being said, let's also say a prayer for homecoming team, as it seems like no one can win their homecoming. You know, I was at one of my alma maters, Tuskegee, yesterday. Add them to the list of teams who buried their homecoming chances. And to top it off, I thought, okay, when I get out of there, I can at least go watch FAMU beat Valley, because when I was there, FAMU was handling Valley very handily. But as soon as I leave the stadium and get to a location at a alumni event, my rather scared the you know what out of me. We'll say the big Jeezy's out of me to keep it PG.
Yeah, we'll go into a little more detail, but you're right on the money in perfect timing. First, let me say today's episode of Inside HBCU SportsWrap is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. We're going to add something this morning, which will get into some of the points that you're talking about, these road wins. Several of them, homecoming road wins, were a theme of today. Let's get into Dr. Cavil's HBCU major, division, and mid-major top 10 scores and see how your thoughts are, maybe how this will affect some of these rankings, as some teams did fall. This is from inside the HBCU Huddle Report. With that being said, the number one Jackson State Tigers defeat Bethune-Cookman Wildcats 42-12. They get it done as they were at home. But then you had the number 2 Caribbean Panthers, which go on the road and spoil homecoming of the number 8 Southern Jaguars 47-21. Jaguars have 2 losses on the season. Prairie View remains undefeated and seeking to control it. You see the eviction notice there. That's what's going around, boy. I tell you. However, as AD Drew says, he was a little nervous, but the number 3 Florida Ramblers did go on the road and get it done as they hold off the pesky Mississippi Valley State Delta. That was 31-24, if you would there. Well, actually, it was the 3-point game, excuse me. But the key part of that game that some people are struggling with is Valley had a chance late in that game to go for a field goal that would have tied it up at 31. So it was 31-28. They chose to go for a first down, see if they could get a new set of downs and maybe get in the end zone, waste a little more time, and probably sneak out of there with the win. They took a little time out to discuss it because they had sent the field goal team. They pulled them off, and they decided to go for it. Bold call, Valley. Some people like it, some people don't. As you can hear by now, they didn't get it. The running back slips as he goes towards the first down marker, and Rattler snuff it out, get it done. Wow. The number 4 Norfolk State Spartans go on the road for a homecoming disposal of the Howard Bison, 45-31. High-scoring action going back and forth as Howard could get it down to 7 several times, but could not get a key stop to maybe try to tie up the game or even go for 2 in their case. Number 5, Alcorn State Braves travel to Houston to defeat Texas Southern Tigers. Was not a homecoming, but they go on the road and get it done. Within the fourth quarter, that was a 7-point game, and then the Braves explode and win the game 44-27. The Hampton Pirates put number 6 North Carolina State Aggie fans on the ledge, as Charles would say it, as Hampton Pirates defeat the Aggies 30-9 and really beat them up physically in a lot of ways in that matchup. So check on your Aggie friends out there. Number 7, Tennessee State Tigers travel on the road at Eastern Illinois as they shut out the Panthers 28-0. Number 9, Alabama State Hornets, and number 10, Alabama A&M Bulldogs were open this weekend. Mid-major scores, if you would. The number 1 Langston Lions go on the road and defeat the previous undefeated Ottawa Spirit team 44-41. So Langston Lions take control of their conference, the Sooner Athletic Conference, SAC, as they continue to get it done. The number 2 Bowie State Bulldogs show their bite on the road as they take down number 8 Virginia Union Panthers, a game that really wasn't this close. They win 27-7. We have a chance. We'll interview the coach shortly. Number 4, Albany State Golden Rams make a statement as they shut out the number 3 Savannah State Tigers 30-0. Yes, 30-0. They wouldn't even let the Tigers get on the scoreboard. The number 5 Fayetteville State Broncos defeat St. Augustine Falcons 40-12. They're probably one of the best teams that nobody talks about in terms of how they're playing really good this season. The Shaw Bears defeat the winless Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls 20-14. The Miles Golden Bears get a huge victory on the road at number 7 Kentucky State Thoroughbreds 28-21. Miles Golden Bears have this up and down season, but they have a chance now with things in their own control to play for SIAC championship. Who would have imagined that a couple of weeks ago? Number 9, Fort Valley State Wildcats defeat Clark Atlanta 40-7. And number 10, Lane Dragons quiet the crowd in their defeat of Tuskegee Golden Tigers 21-17. What did you want to say about the Miles Golden Bears and Tuskegee?
Also, when you look at Miles, they are undefeated in the division, believe it or not. So that's going to go a long way in the mess in the West, as I like to call it, when they come to because there's no way there will not be a tie at the end of the season. There's almost no way there will not be a tie. Either a minimum of 2-way, possibly even a 3-way tie. And, 2-way, you go to head, but 3-way, that's what that division record is going to play in. And like you said, Miles has that right now being, I believe, 4-0 in the division with only 1 division game left, and that being, unfortunately, Tuskegee.
Man, no problem like that. Is there any score in regards to other scores that kind of stood out to you that were important that we should point out? I know many of the scores will go through it, but I just wanted to kind of limit that as we get prepared for this interview. Any other scores that stood out to you this weekend?
Doc, I think you and I may be the only people who have been on the Langston bandwagon all year long.
Thank you.
Langston went out in a shootout and narrowly defeated Ottawa. That game almost guarantees them a spot in the NAIA playoffs. So, let's see how your voters, the BCSN rankings, and the HBCU Pro Sports Media Association voters, and some of these other polls give credit to Langston for that victory, because Ottawa is no punk team. Ottawa is one of the top teams in the NAIA. So it's not all down here yet for Langston, because they still have a tough schedule to finish out. But Langston is definitely in control of their own destiny and almost assured a playoff spot.
As we get prepared to go to this break, we got South Carolina State defeats Delaware State on the road, but it was just 13-7. Don't look out now. South Carolina State Bulldogs are 3-4 and 2-0 and doing what many people thought they would do in the division. Looking like a collision course for Norfolk State. I do want to ask you this: how far does Southern drop in terms of the poll rankings with that loss they had, as well as North Carolina A&T Aggies?
Okay.
In terms, as you said, the voters, I want to know your personal thoughts and maybe how far you would drop them, or in general, do you see those teams dropping this week in the poll rankings?
And we'll stick to your poll since we are on the show. I believe A&T was 6 and Southern was 8. Am I correct on that?
That's correct. You got it. Okay.
Start off with number 6 A&T in a non-competitive game against Hampton, Hampton had dropped out. They
dropped out the week before.
They had dropped out
the week before.
Obviously, you have to consider putting Hampton back in at that number 10 slot.
Good call.
The problem is A&T should be about 8 or 9. But when you got two teams right there together and the team below them has the head-to-head, do you bump that team up? That's what's going to be interesting about you, because they should be really back-to-back. In theory, A&T should be ahead of Hampton, except for the fact Hampton has that head-to-head. Was that head-to-head enough to vault Hampton over A&T in that 9-10 area? Southern, holla.
I like the way you think. Let's go to this break. This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Sitting in for the fellas is AD Drew breaking down thoughts of the day. We'll be right back with this great interview. Stick with us.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. This is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, they're on assignment. They were on the road this weekend evaluating teams such as Bowie State. So they in the airport, across the country trying to get it done. Some of them went down there and saw what you did in Virginia, Coach. Proud of you. We have AD Drew with us. And we have none other than what is now the legendary coach to come through Bowie State Bulldogs, 11th year, national champions, the mid-major division, playoff participant, winner, top 10 ranking, number 2, number 1 in different poll rankings. I know you don't get in all that, Coach, but we need to sing your accolades. People need to understand that you're getting it done, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I appreciate you guys for having me this morning.
Man, no doubt. It is our honor and our pleasure to talk with such a distinguished coach that is, man, making a name for his institution all over the place. Man, that is really good. Let me just straight up and ask you this question first before we get into some of this stuff. Coach, how you getting it done?
I got a great coaching staff, and I got a great senior-led ball club. You know, our guys really fight for one another and sacrifice for one another. And these guys, you know, you're going as a program, you're only going to go as far as your players want to take you. And we had a group of guys that really want to accomplish some things that haven't been done before. So I'm excited just to be the head coach and lead the charge.
Yeah, you know, I know some of the coaches over there. They blessed us over at Prairie View.
Indeed.
Got us a championship. Some of you yourself over there at Texas Southern trying to teach us how to do a couple of things around over there. Right. Before y'all decided to go back home and take your talents home. So make sure you tell Coach Sewell, the other Bulldog faithful that get it done. Frazier, I know he was in the mix. He went over to Maryland as he's revitalizing his crew. Make sure you tell those gentlemen and those fellas that Dr. Cavil still says thank you and really appreciate the work they put in. Make sure you say I said what's up.
Will do.
No doubt. With that, let me shift over there and let A.D. Drew jump in here with a follow-up question, Coach.
Coach Wilson, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, brother.
All right, and I always like to say this, you know, even though it was 2019, we still like to congratulate you on the BCSN Small School Champion in 2019 for football.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that honor for sure.
And I bring that up to ask you this question. Let's talk about your culture there. Okay. How do you do it when you consider that? When we look at preseason polls, when we look at the first thing you do, okay, where is Bowie State going to be ranked? Because now you have built that name as when you look at certain things, you expect to see Bowie State football in there when you talk about the top teams in Division II football. I'm not just talking CIAA, I'm talking about overall. Tell us how you built that culture, especially in what I like to say, the #1 basketball conference. Not only in Division II, but possibly in college athletics, period.
You know, it's a process, like as you mentioned, and it's something that we set out when I first got in. You have the opportunity to be a head coach at Bowie State in 2009. We didn't want to just build have a winning season. We want to build a winning program, and that's something we've been able to do with the coaching staff and the guys from a recruiting standpoint. Bringing the right people in that matriculate in the classroom, buy into what we're doing on and off the football field. So those guys have given us an opportunity to be in this place. And you're talking about preseason rankings and living up to expectations. I think it's a great deal when you are ranked high coming into a season, and we look at it as just a responsibility to fulfill those expectations. You know, so for us, you know, we're expected to be in the championship game. It's our responsibility to do what's needed to get there. And that's something our guys understand. That's something we don't shy away from. And no, we look forward to the challenge. But once again, this is a different ball club from 2019. So, you know, we're looking to win each day, win each game, and win a championship. You know, it's not about a three-peat because this team didn't play in 19. It's a different ball club. We had 24 seniors that left the program in 2019. So it's a different team. And we have different goals and different agendas this year.
I really like that singular focus. Because you can cross over in disciplines about that approach. You know, I seek to try to tell my students that as they come through there is your ability to become an expert in your field is oftentimes related to your ability to be singular focused. And that's still, you know, being healthy with other things. You know, I don't want people to lose that context. But you're able to do that and speak about that on the field. And you see other coaches that, you know, are pushing for championships or had championships, they talk about that refrain. But your team has the ability to win in different styles. A defensive game that you won against Shawan, you go on the road and win a defensive physical prowess, and then you turn around and need to win a shootout. Right. I don't get it. But share with us, let's start first on the defensive side, if you would. What are some of the players that make it go and get it done for you on the defensive side of the ball?
Defensive, we have a very special group. Joshua Pryor is our main guy on defense, if you will. He's a junior. He's a captain, one of our D linemen. Jonathan Ross has been having a great year. Raymond Boone in the secondary, and Tevin Singleton, Miles Wolford. I mean, we have 11 guys that start, but we probably have another 11 right behind them that could easily be starters. And they're playing some selfless football, and that's one thing that we had to talk about going into the season, because we know we had talent at certain positions, and you guys have to be selfless. You know, you guys are going to have to. One day it might be your turn, the next week it may be another guy's turn. And we set pretty much our starting inside linebacker versus Shawan because of what they did offensively. We put another defensive back in the game, and he said, understood what we were trying to get done, and then we were successful in accomplishing that goal. And this past week, you know, like you said, against Virginia State, it was a shootout. Offensively, you know, we ran the ball well. You know, we were able to score 50-some points, and I think we can do that each week if needed. But we want to play complementary football, and at the end of the day, have one more point than the other team, and that's always been our goal. You know, just we have one more point than the other team, we'll be in great shape. We'll win a ball game. We'll come back and get ready the next week. But it's great to be able to, like you say, play sound defense, sound special teams, and score some points offensively.
Before I shift and give it back to AD Drew, let's talk about, you said that offense. Let's talk about some of the players on the offensive side of the ball.
Jerome Johnson, our quarterback, is probably the most athletic guy in our program. He's one of the, I would say, top players in Division II. I mean, he has the ability to throw for 300 yards and also rush for 200 yards. You know, so you know he's pretty balanced. And Khalil Wilkins, our running back, is having a great year thus far. But you know, and I know we don't go anywhere without the O-line. You know, those big guys up front. We have a young O-line, but those guys are really getting after it. But we do have a senior in Justice Davis and Steph Stefani that is really leading the charge. So I'm excited about our guys, and they work hard. And once again, they're a family, and they push one another at practice as well as off the field as well.
No doubt about it. AD Drew, go ahead.
I want to shift back to that defensive side of the ball. And not necessarily the schemes, but the fundamentals. One thing I noticed this year, especially when you look at the teams who did not play in the spring, was poor tackling. Right. Let's be real. There were poor tackling, poor techniques, because the athletes lost their muscle memory and some of the things that are required to play this game at a high level. What is it about your team that you are one of the few teams that did not play in the spring who have found success, especially on the defensive side of the ball? What was it that you guys did going back to the summer and into fall camp that allowed you to have that success on defense?
One thing we talked about as a staff is whatever staff came through on the other side of this pandemic as the most organized and most ready to play ball, we're going to have success. So we paid attention to the little things when we weren't able to practice. Then when we were able to practice, we still do a tackling circuit every day at practice. Now we're going to open practice up with a tackling circuit and a turnover circuit every day. And that's something that, you know, we had to try to play catch up. And I think that hurt us the first game of the season with Delaware State. They played in the spring and we didn't play in the spring. And you saw the difference. You know, we had like 6 turnovers that game. We had some missed tackles, some poor special team play, and still lost the game by 8 points. But that's something that, you know, we focused on during the summer months. We focused on during our Zoom meetings and that sort of thing, just to continue to reiterate to guys the importance of preparing your body, preparing your mind to play football. And as a staff, we had to come in this season somewhat organized to have a chance, because none of us have gone through this before. I haven't missed a football season in 20 plus years. So it was definitely a challenge, but we had to be extremely diligent in what we were trying to get done and get prepared for our opening season.
Coach, I don't want to get too much into it because I know how y'all get into it, but appreciate you sharing it. But I got to bring this up. Willie Alex Hines chimes in on it. And, you know, my pockets are not very thick, you know, because, you know, my wife makes sure that she gets her share of the, you know, household buying income. Mm-hmm. But how much you going to charge me to put this Albany State, Bowie State matchup together? I don't know, location. You want to sing a location, or it can be a home and home 2 years. You know, we'll put the trophy. Maybe we can write some checks. We got to see this matchup. I know I got my money at, but I'm just saying, can we get something like that? I know the Lynx is a little too far NIA, I know that, but CIAA, SIAC, can we get that going?
I would love to. I would love
to.
We have the first 2 weeks of each season open with his non-conference play. So if one of those days work for the university, let's get it done. I'd love to.
Right there. Let me shift it back to you for another question, Drew, and then we'll let Coach get back to his busy day.
All right, Coach. We know the coach speak one game at a time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I need you to pull out your best Willie Simmons from Florida A&M, and let's start talking playoffs. You guys are in control of your own destiny as far as getting into the playoffs. So now we need to talk about seed. Talk to the playoff committee where you should be seeded at, why you should get a home game, all that stuff. I need you to send your program to the posters and the people who actually make the selections for Division II football.
Well, we did a great job, in my opinion, of scheduling our non-conference opponents. We played, like I said, Delaware State, a 1AA opponent, FCS opponent, played New Haven, which is a very good program, and they've been on a winning streak in an NE10. And then we played Saginaw Valley. Saginaw Valley just lost to Ferris State by less than a touchdown a few weeks ago. We were able to come out the game with a win against Saginaw Valley. We went into and played an undefeated Shawan team with the #1 offense in the country, and we came out with a W there. Played a very tough Virginia State team. Just played a very tough Virginia Union team. So we played some tough opponents, and I think we do what we need to do this week and the following week, and have some success in the championship game. We definitely are worthy of having a home game. I think our guys have done what's needed to this point. We must finish strong, but I think you can't talk about our non-conference schedule because we have one of the toughest non-conference schedules in D2 football, and play guys from 3 different conferences and including the FCS opponent. So I'm excited where we are. We set that schedule up for a reason. And I think our guys not only just represented the CIAA well, but represented D2 football well when you're talking about what we were able to do in those games.
Coach, before we let you go, great framework thoughts certainly need to be out there. I don't know if you smoke, but, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll make sure you get your own box, slowburnwaco.com. We'll make sure you get your cigar. You keep doing, get those championships, conference, national, poll rankings. We know what to do.
Yes.
We don't necessarily do the trophies. We let that for the BCSN do the trophies, but we're going to send a box of cigars so you can get down like you get down if you do that. So make sure the coaches know, do what they do and it's coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what we do. I appreciate it.
Okay. With that, let me sneak one more in there and let me let you know before I put it out there. Be careful how you answer this, Coach. Be careful how you answer this, and I understand if you can't. We saw what you were going to do against Delaware State. I'd hate to see that game played again. They may say the same thing themselves.
Right.
But any conversation out you leaking, you might want to leak out there about the MEAC sneaking around the chicken coop trying to get y'all to move up to the FCS level.
I mean, there's a lot of talk. We're focused on what we're doing in the CIAA and at Bowie State University. But there's a lot of talk, and I'm just glad to be in the conversations and our university getting recognized for the things that we're doing on and off the football field.
No doubt about it. I like the way you answered that. That's a good one, Coach. You are championship on many different levels. With that being done, we'll let you go. We really appreciate the time, Coach. We love to bring you back on. Keep winning, keep building that program, keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you shout out to the coaches there. We respect what they're doing. Shout out to the players there. They're getting it done on the field and off the field academically. I see all that you're doing there, Coach. We're really proud of you, really excited about you, and appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to give us a hug. With that, final thing is anybody that you want to shout out or anything, questions we didn't ask you that you want to get out there to the people.
Doug, I just appreciate what you guys are doing, man. You guys are doing a great job just covering HBCU football and athletics as a whole. And it's great. It's a lot of talk about certain teams or certain programs right now. But I appreciate you guys giving us an opportunity to talk about little old Bowie State. I think we're doing some good things, and I'm glad you guys gave us an opplay to bring that to the light.
Yeah, I know you say that jokingly because little old Bowie
State, but they
play with them if you want to. This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU SportsWrap. We're going to our halftime break after a great interview with Coach Wilson. getting it done as the head football coach at Bowie State, as they say around there, little old Bowie. Let them fool you if you want to. We'll be right back after this quick break. Thanks, Coach.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop. He's in the building. I told you, man, is one of the hardest working men in the business of HBCU sports, covering it all. Dedicated to one, covering on all and giving you insights that you can't get. And then another one of the hardest working men in business. He makes sure you get the Division II, SIEC, CIAA, and all the vaccine stuff. AD Drew. So let's get into it. Second half of the show, let's get into some of these matchups that happened this weekend. Boy, there were some big scores, hurt feelings, all kinds of things. Homecoming, not working out like some people wanted. Yeah, everybody don't get the cigar. Slowburnwaco.com. Charles, I know we said this was for classics. We snuck in some homecoming. Do we get a cigar for those teams that go and ruin somebody's homecoming?
You gotta get a cigar for teams that ruin homecoming. You gotta give them cigars. That counts. That counts.
All right.
Yeah.
But y'all need to send my cigar to Jackson, Tennessee, to the Lane Dragons then.
Oh yeah, they get theirs. They get theirs. Shout out. I told you to keep you updated on your Division II updates. That's a big one. That was a big one. A lot of folks hurt feelings over there, Tuskegee. A lot of hurt feelings on the bluff. Up there in DC is Mike would call it the big old festival. They had their homecoming up there at Howell. It didn't work out too well either. But let's get in this first matchup. It was homecoming, Raleigh, North Carolina, Durham County Memorial Stadium, CIAA. It was homecoming from number 6 Shaw Bears. So this one, they get it right. Johnson Smith falls to 0-7, 0-5 in the conference race. But Bears improved to 5-3, 4-0 as the number 6 Shaw Bears defeat Johnson Smith Bulls 20-14. Let me start with you, Drew. What were your thoughts in terms of this matchup? I know in a lot of ways, you probably figured that Shaw would get it done. Did they do it as much as you want to? It's a little closer than probably some people thought, 20-14.
Yeah, the game was a little bit closer than I thought. Was not able to watch it online, but I was able to, to follow the score throughout the day. And, Johnson C. Smith tried to make the game interesting, but the score was not as really close as it appeared. As, Charlotte was up 17-7 going into the fourth quarter, so
got it.
Johnson C. Smith did what they did, but unfortunately, Johnson C. Smith is like everybody's date for homecoming. It seems like. You go through October, you look at Johnson C. Smith's road schedule, HC. That's what you look for when you're a Bull.
Wow.
With that being said, yeah, great point, Charles. It's a tough life to be in a Golden Bull right now. Charles, what are your thoughts on this score 2014 in terms of this matchup? When is expected, I imagine, as you thought?
Yeah, I mean, I think it did go pretty much as expected. I figured Shaw would come out on top end on that one, but I wasn't expecting the score to be what it was. The shocker for me yesterday over there was Elizabeth City and Chowan. I did not see that coming whatsoever. So I think Chowan now has lost 2 in a row.
3.
And, 3 in a row. Yeah, they're reeling right now. So I don't know if there's injuries or whatever the case might be, but they are a different ball club than the one that I thought would be fighting it out over there in the north.
Man, I know it. Shout out. Let me get this out of here. Shout out Tim. Getting it done. That's Tim Thorne, Prairie View A&M, big time alumni. He gets it done, sponsors different things, supports the team with his presence, not only his checkbook. Some of us don't have checkbooks as big as Tim, but we do what we do. Michael Wade, listening in as they driving back. Y'all have a safe ride back, safe travels, as we say. Thank you for checking us out. With that, let's go in.
Wait. You got some people with some victory drives back today?
Yeah.
Those are good drives. Those are good drives.
Joe Clay out there of 1876 rolling. Austin as well. They teamed up. They made their trip, sent plenty of pictures. They made sure a lot of folks saw that scoreboard. Can we get enough of these scoreboard pictures? Yeah, it was quiet on the bluff. They still got the party in. They know what they're doing, but not quite like they wanted. Let's go. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. So. Not at all. Let's go to Arizona. Surprise Arizona, as they call it. Spirit Field. Independent SIAC game of the week, mid-major wise. Number 1, Langston Lions. 2 undefeated teams coming in at that point. Langston Lions improved to 7-0, 6-0, while Ottawa Spirits fall to 6-1 and 6-1 in the conference race. The number 1 Langston Lions defeat Ottawa Spirit 44-41. On Onadon.com, they had the scores reversed, but if you go check out Langston Lions Twitter, they got it done. So big victory as they step on the road and take control of the conference division. Number 1 team, Langston Lions, continue to surprise a lot of folks. I think they should be talked about a little more than you think about. The scary thing about this team is they're young. Let me stick with you, Charles. What are your thoughts on this match?
As Mike Washington say, now that's the data point that I was looking for. Anytime they went on the road and they took on one of the top quarterbacks in the country with Ottawa, and to go on the road and get that win, kudos to Langston. So, Mike wants to always bring another team into that Langston sphere. I think Langston put that down yesterday. They have showed why they are the number 1 team in Dr. Bill's mid-major poll. That was macho yesterday. You got it done on the road. I was very curious about that game because you saw 2 of the better defenses, I think, in Division II, and then you have the young man from Ottawa who was one of the better quarterbacks in the nation. I believe he was somewhere in the top 2 or 3 in the nation in division in the NAI.
Austin McCullough's the name.
Austin McCullough, yeah, for him to get it done, for Langston to get it done, tremendous job. So kudos to Langston, way to go.
Drew, as we get close to this break, give me your thoughts on this matchup. You talked about the quarterback a little earlier, impressive, and you said too, Langston Lions should be talked about more. Go ahead, Drew. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, you talk about 2 of these top defenses, Charles. Unfortunately, the defenses, you couldn't tell when you have over 1,000 yards combined between the 2 teams, one team with over 600 yards, the other team with 400 and some odd yards. I'm really trying to figure out who had the more impressive day, fellas. Listen to some of these totals. Larry Harrington, the quarterback for Langston, 14 of 26, 296 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. Add to that 12 rushes for 86, for 84 yards. That's a pretty good day. Except when you look at his teammate, running back to Jerry Jackson, 34 attempts, 238 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, and to add a little bit of spice to it, 2 catches for 47 yards. Who had the better day?
I would say both. that's a hard coin.
You go for 2 bills. That's a good day. You rush for 2 bills. Anybody rush for 2 bills, I'm a lean toward you because it's one against the other 10 on that. So
yeah,
pretty good.
285 yards combined, or with your running back all-purpose yards, or your quarterback who combines for 370 yards passing and rushing.
Nice.
It's going to be tough to figure out which one of them is going to be the small school player of the week, because I don't even need to look at anybody else's team or anybody else's stats. It's going to be one of those 2.
Great point. And that's going to be a tough decision. See what the voters say. With that being said, CIAA mid-major division game of the week and the SIAC mid-major game of the week. These were top 10 matchups, but both teams made a statement in terms of how they handled their top 10 matchups. You had the slight upset in terms of SIAC with number 4 over number 3, at least in terms of rankings. A lot of people thought it was Albany State going in, but certainly you had number 2 taking care of business against Virginia Union. That one score was 27-7. And in SIAC, it was Albany State, the Golden Rams, shutting out Savannah State in that matchup 30-0. So with that being said, let me go to you, Drew, and break down CIAA, SIAC. What were your thoughts in terms of what happened in those matchups? And then we'll turn to you, Charles.
Let's stay with the SIAC. Albany State has solidified themselves as the beast in the East. Yes, I had Albany State defeating Savannah State. I told y'all Savannah State in the third quarter has been not inconsistent, has not been around in the third quarter of any game. Little did I know that was going to expand out to all 4 quarters, as Albany State just totally dominated Savannah State. And when you talk about a team like Albany State, once they get the lead, once they get up on you by 2 scores, the game is over, because they're going to short that game. They're going to keep that ball on the ground. Good luck trying to stop them. They're not going to put the ball on the carpet. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave the CIAA game to Charles.
No, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna talk about the SIC game, because that to me spoke volumes with Albany State knocking off Savannah State. I did not think that game would turn out the way it did in terms of a shutout. And like you said, they've solidified themselves in terms of being the beast of the East. But the thing that I guess sticks out for me with Albany State is the balance that they have. A tremendous offense and one of the top defenses in the conference, and a shutout to a team that I thought would give them all that they can handle. You spoke volumes on that October day. So I give all the credit to Albany State. That was a hell of a win.
Yeah, it was. It was very impressive. We talked to Coach, and he said he has gun and will travel. I said I didn't have a big stack, but I said I need to see that Bowie State Bulldogs Albany State matchup. I don't care if it's a single game, neutral site, or if it's a home and home 2 years in a row. He said, let's go. So we'll see if we can get that going and get that message to the Albany State Golden Rams coach. I figure he thinks the same way about his program in the SIAC. We need that SIAC CIAA. I might have to get to the 2 conference commissioners. I got a little spot over there in the SIAC as Commissioner Show Me Love, Commissioner Gregory Moore. That's Brother Moore, as they would say, out of the fraternities, the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. We'll see if we can get it going on. With that, let's go to this break. We're running a little behind. This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU SportsWrap. We'll come back and we'll get Drew's final comments there, and then we'll get into the major division game. Got a lot to talk about there. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah. It's the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is on assignment. Charles has joined us, getting off of his assignment. And we also have the venerable, as they would call him, AD Drew, bringing it like he does with the Brian and AD SportsWrap and all other things that he puts on his plate. With that being said, we just talked about the slowburnwaco.com. Well, cigar is going to go since we've added this. If you ruin a homecoming, the Bulldogs, they did just that. Delaware State Hornets, they go down there and take care of business 13-7. Look out. As many have said it, once they get in the conference play, we say, watch out for the Bulldogs. 3-4, 2-0. They find a way to get it done. It was probably closer than some people thought. It was a struggle. But defensively, they won a game on that side of the ball, defeating the Hornets 13-7. Let me stick with you, Charles. What are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, you talk about a defensive game, South Carolina State, Delaware State, but that duo, Corey Fields and Shaq Davis, was able to get it done in this game, 13-7. But now we get to see how much fun the MEAC can be now that they've gotten into some conference play. First data point yesterday, South Carolina State gets it done at Delaware State. That was a huge win because that is a much more improved Delaware State team that we're watching right now.
Drew?
When I take a look at this game, I had to look and see, are these stats correct? South Carolina State, 27 attempts for 1 net yard rush.
Got to do it through the air.
This is the South Carolina State team who traditionally we don't pass anywhere, including on the interstate. So makes you wonder what is going on in Orangeburg, where they can't seem to get together on the offensive side of the ball, which has put their traditionally excellent defense into some bad spots. We came into the season, South Carolina State was the team to beat. The BX was South Carolina State to lose. Looks like they are trying to lose it, as Norfolk has now become the BAC favorite at this point in time.
Hey, Tony, we'll talk about that with Norfolk State and Howard And Charles may push you back a little bit. Before we get in this, we got to get in this Big South matchup that now features HBCUs. Number 6, North Carolina A&T falls to 3-4 and 2-2 in the conference race at Hampton Pirates that raised their record to 3-4 and 1-2. Yes, Charles, Hampton Pirates defeat the mighty North Carolina A&T State Aggies, previously ranked number 6. I doubt that will happen this week as we talk a little bit, maybe just how far they fall. But the Pirates dominated the Aggies 30-9. Yeah, with that big look, let me go straight to you, Charles, first. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, the first and foremost, we got to find Lonnie Shaw. Well, is he on the line today? Well, where are my Aggies? Now I know, I know the past 3-4 years, the Aggies have been running the roost in the MEAC, and we had to move on. Y'all can have it. Y'all can have the celebration. Wait a second now. That wasn't supposed to happen. To Hampton? Uh-oh. No. No, Aggie Pride. I need some Aggies to show up. I don't see them right now. But that's a huge win, Hampton. That was a surprising score. I did not expect to see that yesterday. As I'm following the scores and I see the SWAC scores, flip over and take a look, and then something told me to check the Big South real quick, and I just assumed it was a misprint. And I started trying to look around to see, where I could research and find, the right score. And sure enough, Hampton, they got it done. That was a huge win over North Carolina A&T. And I don't know. I don't know where A&T is finding the offense right now. That's 2 weeks in a row now where they have absolutely thrown a dud out there on the field from an offensive standpoint. So they've got to figure it out. They've got to get back to those run game principles or whatever the case might be. But right now, they just don't look like the A&T that we've come to know and love.
Yes, Drew, that offensive line, both defensively and offensively, but especially offensively, is just not getting it done. What are your thoughts in terms of the outcome of this game?
When I got to the post homecoming event that I was at and logged into the watch party, and I asked Brian to give me the update on the scores at that point in time, since I had been preoccupied with the Tuskegee Lane game. And he just went down and started reading the scores, and he gave this score, and he said something else, and I say, hold up, what? What did you just say? Not that Hampton beat A&T, but they beat A&T like that. And then I'll go and look at the stats of the game. Statistically, it looked like it was a pretty even game. Hampton even had 3 turnovers in the game, but A&T laid the egg. Like I said, we don't know what's going on in Aggie Land. Maybe maybe the move has been more psychological for the players than some people expected. Not playing in front of these capacity crowds, and the atmosphere has suddenly changed. And I believe they've got Monmouth coming up this week. What is greatest homecoming on earth going to look like in Aggie Land, especially coming off of 2 losses in a row? Is it still? And they're not doing a traditional homecoming, also with a lot of the events going to be virtual for the greatest homecoming on earth. I hope it's not the greatest dud on earth this week for Aggies doing homecoming.
Speaking of the duds and homecomings that are turned into homegoings, wow. Ricky Burton says, since homecomings are turning into homegoings, he says, I hope we can wreck FAMU's homecoming this weekend. Laugh aloud, hashtag grab fan. I like it. I like that.
Protect your homecoming, because homecoming they've been coming up short.
That needs to be a hashtag. Protect your homecoming.
Yeah, protect your homecoming now. Get in these last 2 matchups, MEAC SWAC, before we call it a show. Man, it's been great dialogue. We talked a little bit about this, but let's go a little deeper. The number 4 Norfolk State Spartans defeat Howard Bison 45-31. Shootout. It did get down to 7 points several times. Big plays back and forth, but Norfolk State can score. We know that. Maybe they have a little problem stopping people, but they can score. looks like Charles wanted to push back a little bit on South Carolina State. As you do that, tell me what are your thoughts on this Norfolk State Spartans matchup against Howard Bison? Another one of those homegoing games with them wrecking Howard University's fall festival, as Mike Washington likes to call it.
Yeah, I think the final score doesn't really say to the back and forth that Norfolk State and Howard had. I thought it was a tremendous game. I was very impressed by Howard being able to fight back, and keep making those big plays. Both teams kept throwing haymakers, but hats off to Juwan Carter, Pootie Carter, man, 26-29. And he had a tremendous streak where consecutive completions, another 300-yard game. This Norfolk State team is almost looking swaggish in terms of the way they can run up and down the field, in that wide open offense. But that's going to be interesting once they come across, I think, a defense that has the skill set athletes that can run with them. That's going to be very interesting. So that's why I push back a little bit with South Carolina State. I think, South Carolina State, there's more in the tank for South Carolina State's defense. So that's going to be a tremendous matchup when they finally see each other.
Barney out there, hashtag protect your homecoming. Yeah, I pinned that to the top. Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of Norfolk State?
You say that Norfolk State's offense is looking rather swaggish. Let me sit here and think about if I can figure out why their offense is looking rather swaggish. Maybe have something to do with their head coach spending so much time in the swag. I mean, I don't know, fellas. And but it brings up an interesting thing. Will that type of offense work up in the Northeast long term, as going from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where the weather tends to still be mild as you get into November? You can play that type of offense. There's a reason why these MEAC teams rely more heavily on their run game, because when you're up in DC, Virginia, and places like that for those November games and those gusts of wind and sometimes even snow, are you going to be able to throw the ball 50 times a game in that type of weather? Let's see if Norfolk can do that. But right now, Norfolk is the class of the MEAC with the limited data points. I say with the limited data points, South Carolina State is still in there. So that may change come deep November when the weather turns.
Well, that's that last weekend matchup with South Carolina State going to Norfolk State. If they can hold on to this spot, well, that's going to be a very interesting game of the week that ultimately could come down to who's going to take the trip to Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. So I'm here for it. But
and
with
they
that being
said,
exactly, you talked about the fact that the southern region, Baton Rouge area you talked about, well, we're going to go to that matchup now in terms of another team that turned homecoming into homegoing in Baton Rouge, A.W. Mumford, as the number 2 Prairie A&M Panthers, 1876, go to 6-1, 5-0 in the conference race as they defeat the number 8 Southern Jaguars that now fall to 3-4, 2-2. Yes, 2 losses in the conference division. It's a tough road for Southern, and the conference schedule just gets tougher as Prairie View takes a week off before they prepare for their last big road trip, you would think, in terms of divisional matchup against Alcorn State Braves. That could be a classic game as well. But let's stick to this one as Prairie View gets it done on the road in all seriousness, defeating the Jaguars and doing it in a statement fashion, winning 48-21. Let me stick with you, Drew. What were your thoughts in terms of the score and this matchup, homecoming going to homegoing?
Well, through the first two and a third quarters, two and a quarter quarters, just into the early third quarters, it was a fairly competitive, fairly close game, with the score being as close as 21-14 just early in the third quarter with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. But then you have a Prairie View and Juwan Pass who go on a 24-point unanswered run before Prairie View is finally able to put up Prairie. Southern is able to finally put up a garbage time touchdown to bring the final score to 21-48. For a game that the experts Vegas had as a pick'em game, I hope you picked the right side in this game, because if you did, you came out this game with we'll just say with enough money to get an extra cigar. If you didn't, you're gonna be passing your cigar on to someone else. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you might get you a box of cigars if you get it right. Slowburnwaco.com, no doubt about it.
But I did pick the over in this game.
Yes. Let me go to Charles Bishop. We don't encourage betting lines, but we certainly will discuss it. Charles Bishop.
Well, you know what? What was interesting with this game is Prairie View have found another gear, and that's the thing that makes them scary to me. When you are this was a nip and tuck game, I think, through the first half, and then once we got into the second half, wherever they found that extra gear, they did find that extra gear, and that separates some teams. You know, when it's like, okay, enough is enough. And you put your foot on the gas, and that's what we saw with this Prairie View team. They were able to stop the run, I think, in the second half. What I was following in the first half was, you know, how was Southern's offensive line going to lean on this Prairie View defensive line? And it was a battle of wills when you're talking about the number 16 rushing in the nation going against the number 10 defense in the nation. And it was a very interesting matchup because I wanted to see how Prairie View would be able to handle this four-headed monster that can be Kobe Dillon, that could be Jared Sims, that could be Devon Ben and Craig Nelson. And to their credit, you know, they did a tremendous job, I think, in slowing down Southern's run game. And then Southern this year does not have the defense to sustain their offensive prowess. It's tough to watch a team that was doing tremendous things in the spring really get gashed. It's as though it's a different sort of defense that you're looking at. I'm not sure what exactly is going on the defensive side of the ball, but to Prairie View's credit, they took advantage of what they needed to do, and they put their foot on the gas, and they choked them out in the second half. You just got to give them credit, and that's what makes this Alcorn Prairie View matchup in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a tremendous matchup. These are both teams that, you know, Alcorn shows their championship pedigree because it doesn't matter how down they might be. They figure out a way to get themselves back in the game and make it a competitive game. And we saw that against UAPB. They were able to overcome, you know, whatever things that were going on in regards to the game and come back. And then Prairie View, the upstart, I think, in the SWAC West. We see now how scary they can be. And everybody should take notice of this Prairie View football team. This is a very, very good football team. They're explosive on offense, and they're very, very good on defense, very fast on defense. And they were able to stop a really, really good rushing attack. Even though the final stats say 130 yards, they were really able to slow them up in the second half.
Great points made by both. Hashtag protect your homecoming. With that being said, 4 of the top 5 teams put up 40-plus points in their matchups, including the number 5 Alcorn State Braves traveling to Houston, defeating Texas Southern Tigers 44, which sets up for an intriguing matchup next week. We'll get into this week with Alcorn traveling to the Bluff to face Southern, a wounded Southern. Will Southern stand up? It'll be interesting. And then a week after that, you have the Panthers, top 5 team, traveling to now a top 5 team in the Alcorn State Braves, which makes it interesting. But let's go over to the East, where the number 1 team, Jackson State, got it done. We talked about FAMU getting a scare at number 3, but the number 1 team got it done, putting up a 4th spot after going down 9-0 without their head coach, Coach Prime. They put together a run that really was impressive after going down. Let me pass the mic to Drew to first talk about Jackson State Tigers, and then we'll let Charles close it out to give us insight on the number 1 Jackson State Tigers getting it done without head coach, Coach Prime.
I want Charles to tell us which one of those coaches on the sideline FaceTime Coach Prime doing one of those huddles when they was all together, so Coach Prime could get into those Jackson State Tigers butts and get them in the gear after they were down 9-0, because they just came out. They came out flat, and part of that may be due to not having your leader there, and it's natural to come out flat without your leader and people doing different roles, you know. And so I expected them to come out a little flat, but thank God Jackson State finally was able to get into gear, get back to doing what they were doing, because somebody's also trying to be, you know, somebody feels like they have to step up to be the hero when your leader is not there. And it's just ironic that the players who stepped up to be leaders just happen to have the same last name as their leader.
Charles?
You know, the what is the very interesting
I did
thing
like
about,
the way that you snuck that in there, Drew. I'm sorry about that before I pass back to Charles. You're right. The Sanders boys, they made sure that people knew Sanders' name was still in the house. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I think Coach Prime puts a big preeminence on winning each quarter. Winning each quarter. That's something that he preaches every week. This is another quarter that they didn't win. That's first quarter. I'm not sure what the answer is or whatever the case might be as to why they come out flat at times, but it just took a little while to get in gear. And the thing that really stands out with regards to this team, there's never any panic. There's never any panic whatsoever. Down 9-0. And the prevailing attitude was, okay, enough. Let's get into gear. Let's do what we do. And let's just, you know, come back and win the next quarter. And that's simply what happened. They have the ability to find another gear, both on the offensive side of the ball and especially on the defensive side of the ball. You know, Doc, I told you last week, you know, this Jackson State defense, and hopefully we can put to bed, you know, who's the better defense between FAMU and Jackson State. Because just taking a look at it, I'll just be very honest with you about that. They give you an opportunity to score, you get your score, but you right at that average, that 12.6 points per game. That's about it. That's it. You know, they have the ability to really mash the gas and really come after the quarterback. And this is rinse and repeat every week. You know, stop the run, make a team one-dimensional, get after the quarterback. And yesterday, for the first time, they were able to get some interceptions. Yesterday actually was the only time that they've had got an interception this season. So they were able to go out there and get two. And like I said, Shador, the thing that makes him grown, as they call him, he's never too up, never too down. 9-0 deficit. Hey guys, let's get into gear. And once they figured out some protection schemes where he was going to be comfortable in the pocket, they went to work. And what's very interesting about this team, they've developed another big play threat in Malachi Wideman. This young man is a go-getter. He can really get down the field. And then he worked a little bit in the slot yesterday, gave issues to Bethune-Cookman in the slot as well. So he has gotten a lot more familiar with the offense since the beginning of the season, and now you're starting to see his athletic ability. He laid out for one that was beautiful yesterday, and he is going to be a real matchup problem because he has the ability to go up in high point balls. But we've seen him now running routes and making catches and making runs after catches. So you add him to the mix, of course, with Keith Corbin, who is Mr. Consistency for Jackson State. And you still haven't really seen Josh Lanier, the transfer from Alabama. He has the ability to get behind defenses as well. They missed him on a couple of deep shots last week. What is concerning about Jackson State, running game was not able to get on track yesterday. Hats off to Bethune-Cookman. They did a great job of really choking off the running game yesterday.
Bethune-Cookman does that really well. They choke off the run. They've done it at Prairie View. We're right up on it. We're giving overtime, so let's get out of here. Drew, quickly, but before you do that, wanted to shout out to Florida Memorial, who won their first football game since 1958. Congratulations to Coach Tim Ice Harris and the Florida Memorial Band that is representing around those parts as well in the deep greater Miami area. Drew, quickly, what did you have that you wanted to share with the listeners?
I was going to say, and this for one of these shows this week, the debate may not be who has the better defense, Jackson State or FAMU. The debate may need to be who has the better defense on their level, Jackson State or Albany State.
Nice one. D1, D2 debate of HBCU teams. We can get into that this week. With that being said, wanted to shout out some games to watch. We said a little bit about obviously Southern and Alcorn, but let's run down the schedule. Big one in what you call the OVC, as Tennessee State is winning some games. They're back in the mix. Murray State, Tennessee State, Murray State 3-4, Tennessee State 4-3 now on the season in terms of what they're getting done. So it'll be fascinating to see how that continues to stand up. And then in the MEAC, as they get into full gear, loading it up this season, you have Howard at Delaware State, Morgan State at Norfolk, South Carolina State at North Carolina Central. That one may be interesting, as North Carolina Central did get the win. It was over Morgan State that struggles, but we saw what South Carolina State was just able to get out of Norfolk State. So I had my eyes kind of on that one. I think Norfolk State will get it done at home against Morgan State, and it'll be interesting to see Howard and Delaware State, who comes out of that with a win to kind of restart their program maybe for next year. Then we get into the SWAC, where it continues to be matchups galore week in and week out. Week 9 features Arkansas Pine left for Texas Southern University. Texas Southern needs the win. They had showed some glimpse against Southern. Pine Bluff, they want to get in the win column, although that's a team that's outside of the race. It's important for those two teams and coaches to get into that. We had a Magic City Classic as the Classics get back in the fold. Alabama A&M and Alabama State, both coaches in that game need those wins as well. Grambling goes on the road to FAMU. FAMU has their first SWAC homecoming with a perennial power. Grambling is not what they are, but can they sneak around that chicken coop and continue the refrain of making that homecoming into homecoming? We'll see. Jackson State at Mississippi Valley. You see what Valley's doing. They continue to prove. Everybody laughed at Valley. People not saying that much anymore. If nothing else, that defense for Valley is serious, especially when they're playing at home, and this game is in the Delta. Fascinating. Coach Prime will not be there. You would think Jackson State does what they do, but this is one of those rivalries, not necessarily in record, but in terms of how you think about your opponent, it's certainly the case. And then you have the rivalry galore, the one on the bluff, Alcorn State Braves and Southern. Southern wants to right the ship. They would do nothing else but to get that monkey off their back of all the straight losses to Alcorn. Alcorn wants this game so they can stay in the race. Obviously, they still have the ability to get some things done with the following week's matchup. But that'll do it for us. Things to look at this week at the major division level. We'll give you some showcases of the mid-major level. Check with us on Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you for listening as we gave you some overtime love today. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, A.D. Drew out there. Again, prayers to B.J. Jones and his family and all those that are in need of prayer this week. Our institutions as well, in terms of past homecomings, tragedies that's going around. Let's take care of one another. Let's keep it going. Enjoy what we do, but also make sure that we stand strong for our communities, our institutions, and each other. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 7. On Sundays, you know, we right here at 9 o'clock. We get you up early before church. Shout out to Coach Damon Wilson, Bowie State, for his great interview. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattacavil. That's DrKenyattacavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1. That's Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, subscribe. Let's go. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube and Facebook. Dream big and continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. This is the quiz every week. Joe Clay, I'm talking to you. Get with the quiz, man. You're flunking the quiz. We're going to put that F squared in your life. A.D. Drew.
Class, I'm in course. I had to do that Joe Clay impression.
We're going to get into Charles.
Lecture.
Dismiss. Thank you.